And we're back. Now, while markets were busy bleeding and rebounding, Washington quietly set a clock. And this one matters because the Clarity Act stablecoin provisions have become the central policy fight between banks and crypto. And the White House just put a deadline on it. At the center of this is the White House, with crypto czar David Sachs acting as broker. On one side, Coinbase, led by Brian Armstrong, publicly opposing the current framework. On the other, traditional banking interests, most notably the American Bankers Association, pushing to limit stablecoin competition. In the Senate, Tim Scott remains a key figure, while regulators across Treasury and financial agencies hover in the background. Ripple, notably, has stayed supportive of a compromise, but this fight extends far beyond any single company. The White House has imposed an end-of-February deadline to resolve the stablecoin yield dispute, a fight tied to a potential $6.6 trillion market. The core issue? Proposed rules would ban idle stablecoin rewards, meaning no yield simply for holding a stablecoin, while still allowing activity-based rewards, such as staking or liquidity provision. Coinbase has called the current draft dangerous and structurally biased toward banks. Why? Because banks can offer yield through deposits, while stablecoins, under these rules, would be artificially constrained. This standoff has stalled progress on the broader Clarity Act, which was supposed to bring regulatory clarity, not create a new advantage for incumbents. The deadline traces back to late January 2026, with key talks occurring around January 28th. Since then, momentum has stalled. As of February 10th, no meaningful progress has been announced. Committee markups, already delayed since January, remain stuck in limbo, which means the clock is ticking. This fight is happening in Washington, D.C., inside the White House and Senate offices, but the inputs are coming from everywhere. San Francisco, where Coinbase is headquartered, Wall Street, where banks are lobbying aggressively, and globally, stablecoin issuers and DeFi builders are watching closely, because whatever happens here will set precedent worldwide, because yield is power. Banks see yield-bearing stablecoins as direct competition, especially when products like USDC can offer returns without the same regulatory overhead. Coinbase and DeFi advocates argue the opposite, that banning idle yield kills innovation, undermines open finance, and entrenches legacy systems. And then there's the real bottleneck, 137-plus proposed amendments. These range from yield restrictions to DeFi participation limits to constraints on tokenized equities. Critics say the result isn't clarity, it's gridlock dressed up as regulation. So, where might this go next? There are two paths from here. If amendments bridge the gap, allowing limited stablecoin yield under defined rules, the Clarity Act could pass in Q1. That outcome would likely trigger a relief rally in stablecoins and select altcoins, potentially 20% or more, as regulatory overhang lifts. But if talks fail, this drags into midterm politics, prolonging uncertainty and keeping capital sidelined. Either way, the next signal won't come from markets. It will come from David Sachs and whether the White House can land this negotiation.